talks in perfect standard English. Does that mean they're your favorite? Does that mean they have more intellect than this person over here that doesn't, but gets A+ on their paper? So we have to examine our individual bias, and students must examine their own too. Teachers have the ability to mold students' opinions merely by attitudes towards certain language variations. If you're giving more attention to a person that's speaking standard English, sounds perfect on paper, out loud, and you're showing them favor, calling on them more, saying they're right while shutting down another student, that's just building up a wall, and that's hurting progress. And that's not what we're here for. We're here to build students up. And Lisa Delpit examines that in her section of the book. Alright. So she has techniques to encourage success by expanding towards standard formal English. So you have to reveal societal expectations in academic and professional settings. Whether we like it or not, standard English is an expectation in the professional world. It's seen as proper, it's seen as correct, it's seen as basically the only option. If you don't speak this way, then people are going to turn you away from a job. You have to explain the benefits of having standard English as an option. Like I said earlier, you don't have to erase your home language, but having this as an option, being bilingual, opens so many opportunities for you in the academic and professional world. You can speak to more people, you have the opportunity to say, yes, I can relate to customers this way, I can relate to other business people this way, but I have the option of keeping my home language. Standard English does not overshadow home language. Like I said earlier, it does not mean that you have to totally fit a mold. Not everybody's going to be the same. Just because you're different does not mean you're deficient. As teachers, we must create a classroom atmosphere with high expectations, multicultural instruction, and preparation for the real world. If we come in here and say, okay, everyone can use their home language, that's fine in some cases. But we don't say home language is totally fine. We've kind of got to create a balance, which is hard for us as teachers, because we've got to come in allowing them to speak their home language, but also having an expectation of them learning the formal languages, which is what I specifically am teaching. Multicultural instruction. We've got to bring in their interest with the standards and combine them, but also influencing the curriculum with the language they're speaking. So it's a balancing act. We've got to bring in what they want so they'll be interested, but we have also got to bring in the standards, what we want for them to learn, and combine them. And that's difficult, but it's our job as a teacher to do it. We need to prepare them for the real world because no one else will if we don't. So we've got to prepare them for criticism if they don't speak standard English. We've got to prepare them for stereotypes. You're this race. You have this belief, you speak this language, this is what's basically going to be said about you. And we've got to prepare them for that. And we've got to prepare them for having their intellect judged upon that. Lisa Delpit says, we must make them feel welcomed and invited by allowing their interest in culture and history into the classroom. We must reconnect them to their own brilliance and gain their trust so that they will learn from us. We must respect them so that they will feel connected to us. Then and only then might they be willing to adopt our language form as one to be added to their own. So we have to be interested in them for them to be interested in us, which is important. And coming to this classroom, I've kind of set up a mock curriculum. This is for English over here. There's just stuff revealing bias, having recordings of other people speaking different dialects and saying, okay, why do I feel this certain way? What makes their intellect lowered because they talk a certain way? There's creative writing through songs. They have a song, they listen to it, and they write creatively in their own language how they think the characters will write. Poetry, take lyrics, Katy Perry's Firework, tons of similes and metaphors in there. Examining your home language, feeling your family talking. compare each family to another family. How do they differ? What do they talk about? How do they talk? Because that at home when you're with your family, that's where the real you comes out. That's where your home language shines. New word presentations. This is what I've experienced with Dr. Pizer, and it's actually great. I'm going to implement it in my new class. I did a presentation on fleek. Okay, we know that, but some teachers do not know that. Dr. Pizer kind of do. But I want students to come in there. I want to be able to relate to them. I want to be able to understand their language. But this also allows them to get part of speech, to get definitions, to get the origin, the personal history with the word. Allows them to bring new slang into the classroom while implementing English vocabulary and lingo. Multicultural texts are so important. These allow students to be influenced with literature, but in languages different from their own. So they can learn about their own culture and relate to it and be interested in it, but also be influenced by other cultures. So we have Monster, we have The House of Mango Street, and A Step from Heaven. Now, I didn't want to just cover English. Although it is my content area, I wanted to cover other bases too. So vocabulary, I don't know how many people have heard about that, but we listened to that in high school. It is rap, basically, hip-hop. And it teaches different instances. We had current events that were rapped in front of us every morning before school. It's a way for your students to get interested in history and math, whatever. It is so awesome. It's a good opening technique, I think, for the classroom. Whatever lesson you're going to teach that day, you can open it up with that, and they'll get excited or pumped. They'll start rapping it. We started rapping it in school, and we were like, I mean, whether you think about it or not, the students are learning. You think they're just joking around, but no, they're learning, which is awesome. These all have to do with hair products, because Lisa Delpitt's daughter went to the school, and they were all like braiding their hair, and the teachers were getting really upset about it, and they were like, stop doing hair. But then they were like, wait a second, they like hair. We can find lessons to do with hair. So this is dealing with geometry, the braids, the intricate details, the patterns that they go. You can deal with geometry with that. History, how do braids affect history? With the Native American Indians and Cleopatra, I'm guessing. And there's just, you can see the different time periods that braids were affected, where they originated, and how they implemented into their culture. And then we have the hair product. For science, you can look on the back and name the different kind of elements that go into that product. Do experiments. What if this one was combined with this one? What does that do? So I just thought that was very interesting, how there's so many options. This is just like, this is like surface area, like touching just the surface, I guess, on all the stuff you can do to implement standard English into the classroom, their home language, with what they're interested in. And that's what Lisa Delpitt's all about. She's all about bringing language in, teaching them formal standard English, implementing their home language so they feel valid as individuals, but making it interesting to them. If we're bringing stuff in from, 20, 30 years ago, bringing textbooks in that make no sense to them, then they're not going to be interested in it. But if we bring in vocabulary, if we bring in braids, hair products, rap lyrics, whatever, then they're going to be like, whoa, this is awesome. This is what I listen to. Wait, I didn't know this had a simile in it. Oh my goodness, this is awesome, So I just think that Lisa Delpitt has a great knowledge of what we can do. My only criticism is that she touched the surface with it. There's so much more that could be explored with this. Maybe it's not a criticism as her as an author, because we didn't need a book this big. We just needed a book that big. And so she couldn't really cover all the bases. But I think that there are so many more opportunities for us to reach children, and I'm going to actually explore different types of curriculum we can use to kind of set up that multicultural atmosphere in the classroom. And I hope y'all do too, because it's not only for English. Like I explained, there's so many options for y'all to reach your children in multicultural atmospheres as well.